Okay, welcome to this quick presentation on the full awareness of breathing, or Anapanasati. A quick definition of mindfulness, or my definition, is basically awareness. And in this meditation, it's really about awareness of ourselves. We can move on to things outside of ourselves later on, but really understanding ourselves is kind of a lot of the reason that people come to meditation in the first place, or looking for a way of steadying ourselves. So awareness of self is what this meditation is about. So when you first start on a mindfulness journey, meditation journey, you can sort of wonder what it's all about, and uh, you can see other people doing it, but it's difficult because when you see someone else meditating, they're basically often just sitting still, not moving. So, how do you learn it? You need a bit of faith, and can be a bit of a dirty word nowadays. But really, faith here is my definition is belief based on conviction that it works, rather than direct evidence, because it's very difficult to get direct evidence. And my analogy is swimming. So a lot of us have learned to swim when we were kids, and the way we did that is our mum or dad, carer, took us to a swimming pool, and we stood on the side of a swimming pool, and we were told to jump into the water, into this sort of strange environment that was a bit unusual for us. And we had to do two things at the same time. We had to paddle our arms and kick our legs. And we were told that if we did these two strange things in this strange environment, then we wouldn't sink and everything would be great and we'd start swimming. And maybe you thought that would never work. And maybe when you first tried it, the first couple of times it didn't work. But you were coerced or encouraged to keep trying, and eventually you got the hang of it, and now you can swim and you don't sink. Even if you can't swim, you might be able to ride a bike or drive a car. There's loads of things that we've learnt to do, which appeared complex and difficult, but we had a bit of faith and we stuck at it. So that's all you really need. Acknowledgements. Anapanasati is a Buddhist sutra, so I'm not trying to turn anyone into a Buddhist. It's kind of a secular thing, but it does come from a Buddhist tradition, and I personally follow a Buddhist tradition. I came to mindfulness by engaging with the Headspace app, and that is also a great way of beginning a mindfulness journey, and I'd encourage people to check out Headspace and have a look at it. And I also acknowledge the Plum Village tradition, and the main teacher within that tradition is Thich Nhat Hanh, who has written an amazing book on this sutra called Breathe, You Are Alive, which is going to be a lot better than this PowerPoint presentation. So if you are interested, check that out as well. Okay, so the sutra, or the mindfulness meditation. So it's basically splitting ourselves into three sections: our body, our feelings, and our mind. And I've split our mind out into three other sections, but I'm going to quickly gloss over that. But really, we're just going to focus on our body, our feelings, and our mind. So, well, let's get down to the practicalities of it. Okay, we start by sitting down. You can sit on a cushion or a chair. And to start with, just thinking about what we're doing. So we're keeping our eyes still, with a soft focus initially, with our eyes open. And we just begin to focus on our breathing, breathing in through our nose and out through our mouth. And in this step, we're really just trying to put everything down. It was described to me by another teacher from Plum Village as if you've carried your suitcase all the way up from the hotel lobby all the way to your hotel room, and you had to go up the stairs. There's a heavy suitcase, your arms really, really aching, get into the hotel room, and you put the suitcase down finally, and you just let go of it, and you've kind of put down a lot of baggage. So just see what baggage is in your hands at the moment and let go of it. Drop it on the floor and just focus on your in breath and your out breath. Important thing in prepare is to make sure that your back is straight. And an easy way of doing this in a chair or on a cushion or even standing up is just to balance your torso, so your rib cage over your pelvis. So two big bony areas of your body, and gravity will do the rest. So don't slouch back in your chair, don't lean on the back of the chair. If you're on a cushion, you probably haven't got a back of a chair. Just balance your chest over your pelvis, and your spine just sorts itself out. There's nothing clever to that. So that's kind of prepare, and in this mindfulness practice, we just do that for about a minute, just to kind of really drop the bags. Contact. And contact has got a few phases. The first one is closing your eyes. So on the in breath, you just close your eyes. This is what I call my strange Catman image. You just take the tip of your tongue and you put it up to the back of your teeth, or the back of your teeth meets the roof of your mouth. And the reason for that is that your submandibular salivary glands, the main salivary glands of your mouth, are under your tongue. And if you lift your tongue up, they reduce the amount of saliva production. And that's really helpful because it means you're not swallowing throughout the meditation. And when you do the meditation, you're aiming to try to get to about 20 minutes. So, and you ideally don't want to be swallowing too much during that 20 minutes. So that's a little tip that will help reduce saliva production and just reduce that irritation. And then we begin to breathe in and out through our nose. And for me, the only reason for that is that our tongue is stuck at the top of our mouth, and so breathing past the tongue is more difficult than just breathing out through the nose. And we can become aware of the points of contact between us and the outside world. So the weight of our body on the cushion or the chair, the feeling of our feet on the ground, maybe our hands are in our lap, and just becoming aware with our eyes closed of that physical contact between our bodies and the world around us. And then we move to connection. So with our eyes closed, our primary sense is going to be sound, hearing. But there's also smell. You may have lit an incense stick, or you may smell other things. You may smell cooking in the house, or all kinds of things you can smell. But and taste and touch are also senses. They're pretty gross senses, and we don't really rely on them much. Touch is an interesting one if the window's open, which is always a great thing to meditate with the window slightly open if you're inside. If you're outside, even better. The air will be moving against your skin, so you can connect with that air movement. And as you notice those perceptions, as you notice sound, smell, touch, you allow those sensations to come and go. And this is a key part throughout the whole meditation, letting things go. So this is the first time we're going to practice noticing something and then letting it go. And also in this phase, or in step, we are noticing our connection to the environment around us. So we are in the environment, which we kind of established in the previous step, and we are also aware of other things in the environment in which we're in, and that we're connected to them. And a further step that I blatantly stole from Headspace, acknowledge that here, is a body scan. But a lot of meditation techniques have got body scans in them. And this is just another way of grounding, another way of settling the body. So this scan basically is a slightly more detailed awareness of how our body's feeling right now. And the way to think of it is, or a way you can think of it, there's lots of different ways of doing body scans, but this is a suggestion for you, is you can imagine that you're lying on a massive photocopier or a flatbed scanner, some way of scanning a document, and that a beam of light is moving slowly, and that's kind of important because this step is about a minute, minute and a half, slowly from the top of your head down through your body. When you first start, everything's rushing. You find this when you first come to meditation. The world's a busy place, your mind's a busy place, and things happen quickly. So it's quite likely that you will have scanned all the way down to your feet well before the next step kicks in which case you just go back to the top and scan again. You try not to go scan, 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 scan. Try to slow it down with each time. And if you get halfway down the second time or third time, that doesn't matter. You can just move on at the end of the step. And so the next step is really the beginning of meditation proper and the beginning of Anapanasati, really. And we're focusing on our in-breath and our out-breath. And it's just as simple as that, nothing else. One way of thinking of it is, or my conjecture here, is that our minds are fairly simple and they can only really focus on one thing at a time. Now you might think, well, I can think of three things simultaneously, but you probably find that, like, if you were spinning three plates on three sticks, what you're doing is moving from plate number 1 to plate number 2 to plate number 3, back to 2, back to 3, back to 1. But you're always looking at one particular spinning plate at a time. So try to keep your focus now on just your in-breath and just your out-breath. You're going to get bored and you're going to want to focus on something else, an interesting thought or a sensation. And when you notice that that's happened, you bring your awareness back to your in-breath, the feeling of air moving past your nostrils maybe, or your tummy going out and in, whatever part of your body that you want to focus on, to notice the physical movement of your in-breath and your out-breath. And so we're developing awareness, concentration, and patience as well. We don't have to jump to the next point. We can stay here, just looking at our in-breath and our out-breath. And if you ever get lost during this meditation, this is also a reset point. So you'll always be breathing wherever you are. And so you can always return to your in-breath and your out-breath. So we do that for a minute. We move on to the next step, which is to let go of some of that focus. So you might find initially that you're almost staring out your in-breath. You know, like if you're in a staring competition with your brother or your sister or someone in the playground when you were a kid, and you know, whoever blinks first loses. So you find that you're really, really focusing on your breathing. So in this next step, just let go of some of that focus. Don't go off and start thinking and judging and narrating a story, but just let go of a little bit of that focus. Just look over the top of your breathing and just let your breathing become a little bit more natural on the in-breath, and on the out-breath a little bit softer. If you wait, you will breathe in because your body wants to breathe in. You might notice that you're even stopping yourself breathing in. Well, if that's happening, don't stop it. Just let yourself breathe in. And you'll notice as you breathe in, a natural breath is different from a conscious breath. And so we're just noticing almost the transition from conscious awareness of breathing to awareness of unconscious breathing. It's a subtle difference, but it's an important part of being aware of your body and yourself without interfering with it. And then the next step is to be aware of the whole body as one unit. So on the in-breath, you're aware of your whole body, and on the out-breath, you calm your whole body. And you can literally let those muscles that might be tense relax. Sometimes when I'm tense, I might find that my quadriceps, my thighs, the muscles are a bit tense. You might, I don't know, clench your fist or grit your teeth or anything like that. So if you notice you're on the in-breath, you're aware of your whole body as one unit, and on the out-breath, just relax. Don't slump down. Keep balancing that pelvis, that chest, sorry, over the pelvis, but just relax. Relax your whole body. Feelings. So with our breathing and our body, that was pretty straightforward because we definitely are breathing, and we've definitely physically got a body. But if I said, where are your feelings? That's a tricky one. You can't point to your feelings. You can point to your body or parts of your body. But you know you definitely have feelings. You almost have a physical sensation when you have a feeling. Now, feelings in the sutra can mean different things from our standard feelings, but the way I'm going to look at it is actually our emotional state. So to be aware of our emotional state at the moment on the in-breath, and then on the out-breath, just to acknowledge that emotional state. So you could have, I'm aware of my feelings, and on the out-breath, I acknowledge my feelings. But you could, if you're really angry, you could be aware of your anger, and then the out-breath, acknowledge your anger. So, and when you acknowledge it, here's a tip. You know when you're in a pub or a bar, not that you should do that if you're a Buddhist, but if you're in a party and your best friend or your brother or your sister comes in and you see them come through the entrance door and you notice them, you want to acknowledge them. So you kind of go, hi, how you doing? Put your arm up, try to get eye contact, try to acknowledge them. You don't really engage with them, you just lock onto them and acknowledge that they're there. They're separate from you in a way. And so you can acknowledge let's say your anger like that. You can say, oh yeah, I'm definitely angry, and I acknowledge my anger. There it is. It's not good or bad. You're not trying to make it go away or come towards you. You're just seeing it and saying, hi, how you doing? And that's all. No more entanglements. Just acknowledge your feelings. List of feelings. So there can be all kinds of feelings, and I I kind of use this list myself sometimes. I mean, certainly fear and anger. I've kind of changed the color of them a little bit. Fear and anger can be challenging feelings, but joy, love, sadness is a hard one. Um, Excitement, surprise. You've got all kinds of feelings. Resist the temptation to think of some feelings as good and some feelings as bad. Uh, they're just feelings. Just like your brother or your sister, if you've got one, or your friend, can be good and bad. They're always your friend, but sometimes they can be good, sometimes they can be bad. So don't judge your friend here, just acknowledge them. Just acknowledge your feelings without putting them into a category. Category, here's a really complicated slide about all the different kinds of emotions, and I probably should have ditched this slide. But I guess what it's saying is that our emotions are sometimes difficult to compartmentalize, and sometimes they blend with other emotions. Sometimes we look for our emotional state and we feel that we don't have one. We feel like, I'm empty. If you wait and wait long enough, an emotion will bubble to the surface. Um, I mean, sometimes you could be completely calm. Most of the time, you've got an emotional state, and all you're trying to do is acknowledge it and just stay with that acknowledgement just for a minute. Next step, and this is the cultivation of joy. And having kind of led a group with this and tried all kinds of different phrases, the one I'm going to stick to, and it sort of comes from Ty's book, Breathe, I'm Alive, You Are Alive. And it's on the in-breath, I am alive, because universally, if you're meditating, you're alive. There's no doubt about it. And on the out-breath, I am free, or I feel freedom. There's the opportunity for anything to happen if you're alive. You could jump up from the chair and go screaming out of the room if you want. You could rip all your clothes off and go and jump into the sea. You could do anything. Now, I'm not saying you wouldn't get arrested or you wouldn't raise a few eyebrows if you did some of these things, but you could. You are free to do anything. And that freedom is quite joyful, meaning that there's the opportunity for good things, opportunity for happiness. And that's what we're trying to cultivate, this awareness of that there is the potential for good, and not in a judgmental kind of good way, but happiness, contentment, satisfaction, for this to work. So yeah, I am alive on the in-breath and I feel freedom. Give it a go. I mean, I'm open to, I mean, you can do whatever you like, but you'll definitely be alive and you'll be surprised how free you are. Okay, so the mind, I've kind of slimmed this down a bit, but the mind is, we can be fooled into thinking that our mind is just thinking, and in fact we do a lot of thinking. In fact, my conjecture is that we're addicted to thinking. Thinking, judging, choosing, narrating, they're all really the same thing. They're latching on to and playing around with mental formations that come up within our mind consciousness. So, I mean, that's a bit Buddhist maybe, but we all know what we mean by thinking. So we're jumping onto that narrative, or we're making decisions, we're choosing. Now, some people say that, or think, some people have the idea, the notion that meditation is about not thinking. You can't stop thinking in the same way that you can't stop having a body. You are in your body, no doubt about it. Now, you're not only your body, but you can't get away from the fact that you have a physical form, and you can't stop having thoughts. So don't try and block them out. I don't see any benefit from that. The mind notices thoughts as they arise, but just like earlier in the meditation where you noticed your in-breath and your out-breath, and you realized that you can breathe without breathing, without consciously breathing in and out, you will start breathing. You can allow thoughts to arise and then let them go without interfering with them and playing around with them and fiddling with them. You can acknowledge these thoughts, but don't get involved, and they'll just disappear. Other ones will come, but you just acknowledge them and don't get involved. And so that rapid pulse of thoughts, that stream, that, standing under a busy waterfall, of a full river, it begins to slow down. Now, it won't stop, but it could slow down a bit. Your in-breath, you could be aware of your mind, and on the out-breath, you could calm your mind. And then, just like in feelings where we try to cultivate joy, in this next step, we're going to try to cultivate happiness. And it's not happiness like happy birthday happiness, like balloons and cake and party poppers, not that kind of happiness. This is, if you look at the definition in the dictionary, happiness can be like, are you happy with that? Meaning, are you satisfied? Is that enough? Have you got what you need? So this is cultivating that sense of you've got everything that you need. You don't need anything else. You've got enough. You are fulfilled, and you can become aware of that. Um, and so the phrases I use are on the in breath, I am meditating, or this is meditating, and on the out breath, I am content. I've tried lots of iterations with various people, and uh, this I this phrase "I am content" is almost universally understood, and sort of sums up happiness. So we're not looking for happiness like you just won the lottery or I've just bought you a sports car. You're just looking for enough contentment, being fulfilled in this present moment. And then it's just to let go of any focus and just let whatever happens happens. If you've done some headspace meditations, you'll be familiar with this. Just don't do anything for 30 seconds. Obviously, you'll carry on breathing, but try not to focus on breathing now. Just for 30 seconds, just let go. And you'll find that just you've been clenching on to breathing for ages, or, for a while, and just letting go is this final kind of relaxation of self. At the end, we reconnect. We bring our awareness back to our body uh, from the first step. So the weight of our body on the chair, feet on the ground. We become aware of our surroundings again. And then right at the end, you just hear the instruction to open your eyes. And that's the end. Hopefully you found that useful. It's the full awareness of breathing. As I say, the best commentary by far is Thich Nhat Hanh's book, Breathe You Are Alive. But this is a great practice, and I hope you enjoy it and practice it with us.